What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a reaction to the 2023 Golden Globes. And most importantly, what these results do and do not mean for award season and the Oscars. So, a lot to get into, of course. A lot of nice wins, a lot of actually not really a lot of surprises. Honestly, we'll get into why that might be. And I think most importantly, what actually matters about the Golden Globes now versus what used to matter before, and vice versa. So, as the thing everyone knows, the Golden Globes did not happen last year. They did not happen in 2022. Uh, and a big part of that was the Hollywood Foreign Press Association finally got exposed out in the open with a lot of stuff that people knew for a long time, basically regarding their corrupt voting practices, a very undiverse voting body, uh, unethical action across, and they were boycott. And the HFPA has made some changes to how they operate and who their members are, and the Golden Globes came back this year. Now, I think what's important to note that everyone playing ball, everyone in Hollywood playing ball this time around with the Golden Globes is a self-serving thing. It's not because anyone cares about the opinion of the HFPA. Notably, no one who votes on Golden Globes votes on the Hollywood Guild Awards or the Oscars. So there's no crossover there. This is really about movies that are in the awards mix at other shows being able to get that platform and market their movies awards campaigns. So I think it's just important to remember that that is why they're here. And for me, I'm only interested in what the Globes might mean for the rest of award season, the award shows that I actually care about and put value in. So I think it's important just to note that no one actually cares about winning Globes or the HFPA itself. So just to get that out of the way. So yeah. So what happened last night? We had Gerard Carmichael hosting. I think he did a really good job. Uh, coming off a big year with his feature film debut on the Count of Three, and of course his critically acclaimed special Rothaniel to have him host. Nice high profile gig for him. Happy for Gerard. And right off the bat, he did what you kind of expected from Ricky Gervais the past few years at the Globes. He skewered the shit out of things. But most importantly, Gerard really was pointed and clear and direct about the problems with the HFPA and the problems with the Globes, and he did not mince his words. I think that was good to hear right off the bat. And then, funny enough, from there on out, the Globes just kind of became a more standard award show, giving out awards. There weren't any bits, and they had the one Globes trademark still, which was that people got drunk, people were lit there, and it's just fun to watch famous people be together and have some of them be lit. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, let's just get into who won and what that might mean. So, of course, the Globes separate stuff between drama and comedy slash musical. So there's not a clear like fight between awards contenders often. It really depends on the category. But there's still some interesting things to point out here, and we'll see how this bears out with the Guild Award nominations coming out throughout the this week to come. So, motion picture drama was won by The Fablemans, and motion picture musical or comedy was won by the Banshees of Inisherin. Banshees, of course, beating Everything Everywhere All at Once in that category. I think those are our three contenders there, but it's still hard to glean who you would give more momentum to because it was not a head to head fight. Banshees has more awards juice down the ballot, and I think that is interesting, although Best Director was won by Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans. So I think we really need to just wait and see just a little bit more before we can put a handle on like who's out in front. And by no means do I want to overrule everything everywhere all at once in the Best Picture mix. Let's see what happens with the PGA Awards, Directors Guild Awards. You know, Spielberg perhaps coming up and getting that Best Director frontrunner candidacy. That actually probably does track because it's hard to really think of something that would be against Spielberg with enough juice at this point. I don't think the Daniels with Everything Everywhere or McDonough with Banshees. I don't think we've seen that yet, and I don't know like what else could maybe happen unless like James Cameron for Avatar was to like really explode, and we'll see because the Avatar impact has uh, basically happened after all this awards voting in the early going has happened. So maybe that could change. Obviously, the Oscars aren't until the end of March. It's still a long road ahead, but we'll see. Uh, Moving down to the acting categories, we have Actress, again, another one of the like big fights that is just not head to head because the way the Gold Globes does things. Kate Blanchett wins for Tar with Best Actress Drama, and Michelle Yeoh wins for Best Actress Musical or Comedy for Everything Everywhere. Those are considered the two favorites, but they did not actually go head to head here. I think we would still lean Kate Blanchett until proven otherwise. Uh, but yeah, there's really not much more you can say about that one yet. We have to see more award shows play out. Best actor, we had Colin Farrell win for musical or comedy for Banshees, and then probably most notably of all, we had Austin Butler win for Elvis in actor drama over Brendan Fraser in The Whale. Side note: it is funny that Elvis was ran as a drama at the Globes when they literally have a category for a musical or comedy. Shows though, I think, how confident the Elvis, awards campaign is in like their awards prospects. And I think Butler beating Brendan Fraser in The Whale is a big sign to that candidacy. And I would still peg that as our big three. And we need to see more though. We need to see Farrell and Butler go head to head. We need to see if Fraser can win somewhere else. Of course, Fraser was not in attendance at the Globes and was boycotting this, at least personally boycotting this ceremony due to his previous negative experience with the HFPA. So it's a muddy picture, Best Actor. So again, we just need to see more with that. But the Austin Butler campaign, I think, is very real. The biggest talking point, perhaps, of the whole night was that Austin Butler seemingly just does the Elvis accent now. That is just a part of his being, and that is hilarious. But he's also a very charismatic man, so we'll see if that continues to work for him on the trail. Again, we have to see more. Then supporting, I think, is honestly a lot less surprising and probably just a straight up forecaster at this point. Supporting actress, and the Globes don't differentiate comedy or drama with supporting roles for some reason. Very weird thing they've always done. Supporting actress was Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which feels like the winner. This feels like kind of like a coronation year for Angela Bassett after a 30-year career of being great, and it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of juice behind, or enough anyway, behind the people that she's kind of going up against, whether that's Carrie Condon in Banshees, Jamie Lee Curtis and Everything Everywhere, Terry Mulligan, as she said, uh, Dolly De Leon in Triangle of Sadness. We'll see if other people fit into that mix, but unless Banshees has like an amazing night at the Oscars and Carrie Condon wins, I have a hard time seeing anything else really getting in Bassett's way. But again, we'll see what happens moving forward. And then Best Supporting Actor is perhaps the lock of all locks at this point, which would be Ki Kwan for Everything Everywhere All Once, beating Brendan Gleeson in Banshees, as well as Barry Keoghan in Banshees. This narrative, the story for Ki Kwan, the return to Hollywood uh, after such a long time not acting, and then to do it in a movie that has such a warm message with an amazing performance from Kwan, but I think it's just kind of the perfect coalescence of narrative and feeling and audience reception that, like, I mean, again, unless Banshees has an amazing night and Brendan Gleeson was to win this, I don't really see how anything could get in Ki Kwan's way. And it would be an amazing win too, because if you expect Yo to lose to Blanchett in Best Actress, and maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once doesn't win Best Picture, this would still be a really top prize and a justly earned one at that for a amazing movie that had a year that no one would have foreseen, before Everything Everywhere All at Once came out. And so that would be cool. Uh, Best Screenplay, which again is not differentiated by adapted or original here at the Globes, weirdly, went to Martin McDonough for Banshees of Inisherin. That's McDonough's trademark. As a writer, the screenplay of Banshees is perhaps the biggest strength of all that it has, the paragon of its uniqueness. So that's a really just win. We'll see what happens with the Writers Guild and other award shows to follow if see that continues. Justin Hurwitz won for Fablemans with Score. Sounds like a pretty safe bet. That's a really big score, and Hurwitz has been awarded before, so keep an eye on that one. And then Best Original Song, I think, is pretty interesting because it went to Natu Natu from RRR over, lots of famous people, right? Taylor Swift, Rihanna, Lady Gaga. That's like super cool, and like maybe it's a sign that RRR has more momentum as a movie that uh, didn't make the best international feature film shortlist at the Oscars, but it's a movie that has a ton of goodwill at the Oscars, and the rare Indian film to really cross over into Western cinema. So that's at least a nice nod to that movie, and that song is awesome, and that's importantly a song in a specific part in the movie that actually makes like a real impact on the movie. So I think it's one of the rare best original song winners that actually like makes an impact to the movie and is super earned. Uh, and that's really the gist of it for movies. I mean, Del Toro's Pinocchio one animated feature that seems like the lock of locks at this point. Motion picture non-English language, which is what the Globes calls Best International Feature Film, notably went to Argentina in 1985, a film you can watch on Amazon Prime right now. It did not go to All Quiet on the Western Front, the German remake of the war film classic that's on Netflix. And that's notable because All Quiet on the Western Front like cleaned up at the Oscars shortlist with a lot of nominations, more than was expected. But to not win here at the Globes is at least interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if Argentina 1985 can keep this up in that mix. And it is a very competitive field for international film. So we'll see what happens with that one. And then TV, obviously, TV is always a weird aspect of the Globes because this happens like 6 months after, or 4 5 months, 4 or 5 months after the Emmys happen. So the eligibility period's different. You have people that already won Emmys, like Amanda Seyfried and The Dropout, for example, the Better Call Saul people. And then you have shows that were in the previous Emmy period and actually get to win their first awards at the Globes. And then when the Emmys happen again in September, they'll win again and it'll feel late. Stuff like Jeremy Allen White winning for The Bear, for example. So I don't really put much stock in the TV stuff with the Globes. Just cool to see, I guess, TV people mixing it up with movie people, I suppose, when you watch the broadcast. But happy to see Jeremy Allen White win for The Bear. Happy to see House of the Dragon win for drama. That's fun. Abbott Elementary, Quinta Brunson, no surprises there. White Lotus winning for anthology series, very cool. Uh, Coolidge winning again for White Lotus season 2, great. Yeah, but really not a lot of surprises there with TV. So we'll see what happens with the award film nominations. I'll be talking about the Oscar noms and giving my predictions for those next week. So make sure you subscribe for that. And when the Oscars come around, I'll be doing my predictions and reactions to the Oscars as well. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.